Yeah. Okay. I'm going to lower my mask so you can hear me because of the wind. I wish to welcome you to Johnny Logan Park. It's one of our nicest memorial parks. As you can see around here, we have the Z Pool, we have the baseball field, we've got restaurants, and where the smokestack is the proposed location of the incinerator. With me today we have former Mayor John Bertoni, who was mayor from 2008 to 2020. I was mayor from 2000 to 2004. Also with us today is Dr. Paul Connett. Paul Connett is an Englishman, probably American now, who studied at Cambridge, came to America, studied at Dartmouth, where he received his PhD in chemistry and toxicology. He taught at St. Lawrence University for 23 years, and he has been accused by our present mayor of not knowing what he's talking about. We'll ask her credentials, see if she has a PhD in chemistry and toxicology. As former, also we have Ted Warner, who is a trustee in the village of Endicott, and I guess Pat's not here. As former mayor of the village of Endicott, I'm concerned about our environment. The environment in which we live and the safety of our inhabitants of the valley. As a practicing physician, I've been a physician for 50 years, I'm greatly concerned about your health and my own. Therefore, I'm concerned about the placement of an incinerator, which you can see behind us, a so-called recycling plant and lithium-ion battery incinerator that is being pushed by the governor of New York State, Cuomo, and certain local officials. This is a factory coming in from South Korea called Sunjeel LLC that thinks they found a home here in a quiet locality. And to my knowledge, nobody seems to want them here, except our mayor, Linda Jackson, the deputy mayor, Cheryl Chapman, Governor Cuomo, and in my opinion, Harvey Stenger, the owners of Huron, and certain local politicians. The state is proposing to give Sunjeel LLC from South Korea $1.75 million. They're giving them a property tax-free, so the village of Endicott gets nothing. We still pay our taxes. And they propose, I've heard, to employ 20 workers. Now, this recycling process, as you'll hear from Dr. Connett, the recycling process in incinerator burns lithium-ion batteries at 800 degrees centigrade. It's nice they put it in centigrade because it doesn't sound like so much. But when you convert it to Fahrenheit, it's 1700 degrees Fahrenheit. And this spews forth toxins such as dioxins, hydrogen fluoride, toxic metals, and other toxic nanoparticles. Now, nanoparticles are very small microscopic particles that are spewed forth from the smokestack. These particles are so small that they can evade the pollution control devices. A recent study done in Rome, Italy, I just heard about this, by a physician there doing research, as that these nanoparticles the coronavirus attaches itself to the nanoparticles and are spread by the wind to large areas. So nanoparticles can be a source of coronavirus. Our present zoning, and this is the issue, before us. Our present zoning does not permit an incinerator. And the Mayor, Jackson, and Deputy Mayor Chapman want to change the zoning so that incinerator can come here. They are meeting May 4th, which is next Monday, at Village Hall at 7 p.m. And it's supposed to be a public hearing. And then they're going to vote, but I don't understand how this can be a public hearing when we're not allowed to even go in there. So I think there's a legal hitch there somewhere. I'm going to now allow Dr. Paul Connett to speak to us about chemistry and toxicology.
Hello. I think the community of Endicott is being deceived by three sets of people. First of all, the mayor is deceiving people and saying that only water vapor is going to come out of that the dioxins emitted are no more than starting a car. This is outrageous. And as the former mayor has pointed out, this change of zoning is not to protect Endicott, it is to protect this facility coming here. It's subterfuge. The second source of misinformation here is the New York DEC that I've battled for 35 years on incineration. They used, it's unbelievable to me, as somebody who specialized in dioxin, I've written, co-authored 6 papers on dioxin, attended international symposia on dioxin all over the world. It amazes me that the DEC accepted one data point on dioxin, one data point, emissions captured over a short period of 4 to 6 hours, and use that to calculate the total emissions for 1 year. This is scientifically preposterous. Scientists who are familiar with dioxins from incinerators know that the emissions can increase by 1,000 times in the same day, especially during startup, shutdown, and upset conditions. And this facility will start up and shut down each day it's operating. It operates 5 days a week. It will and for 12 hours. And the second source of deception, in my view, was the report by Barton and Lucretis. Now, they were honest and pointed out that the amount of information that the DEC was using was inadequate. But their solution, you know what their solution is? We will let the plant get built and then we will test it. Well, that's too late for the people here. And I think this siting here, you can see the housing, you can see the baseball field, you can see the swimming pool. This is outrageous siting. You couldn't do this anywhere else in the country. So close to people's housing, so close to schools, so close to baseball fields. This is unconscionable. And on top of all that, because this is a valley, those stacks will not disperse the pollutants adequately. Some people are living above the height of the stacks. And on top of everything else, there are people here right now who are suffering from cancer. And that will put out more cancer-causing chemicals. That's outrageous. It's bad enough that these people were poisoned once in the past, but it should make all the possible politicians sensitive to the fact that they should not be poisoned again. This is outrageous. Thank you.
John Bertoni would like to say a few words about his neighborhood.
Okay, I don't have any scientific facts, okay, but I thank you very much. And every time I listen, I get more informed, and that's why I'm here today. I have probably more time and experience in this neighborhood. I can go way back. When I was 12 years old, I was a paper boy for Cornell, Roble, and Vermont. I coached 4 years across the street. I coached 5 years here. I coached 8 years at Sertoma Field. Over the last 12 years, we put several $100,000 into these fields for the good of our youth. We built a band shell for the elderly to enjoy the neighborhood, to enjoy their lives. And I have many, many friends, and I forgot to mention that I did live on Roble Avenue for several years. So I have, part of my heart is here, and part of my heart is with the people who live here. And I think they deserve better answers. I think they deserve a better shake in all of this. I can honestly say that I live upwind. My son lives westerly. My brother lives upwind. So the Bertoni family certainly has a stake in this. And I can understand everybody's concern. I can understand, why you have questions, why you have, or you need answers. You need more answers. You need better answers. So with that, I can say that, I understand your plight. And I hope that everybody who's making this decision understands their role in the community. Because I see it, they should see it. I get blamed for a lot of things, in a crazy manner by Mayor Jackson. She hasn't mentioned any specific, just that I'm crazy. Okay.
Ted?
Okay. All right, that's all. I just want to say that I think you're heading in the right direction. I think we might get some good results out of this, in this type of activity, this type of meeting, this type of clustering. And certainly I was on one of the phone calls the other day, and I appreciate everything that everybody said. Rob, you're doing a good job. So again, I say my prayers every night for the good of Endicott.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Ted Warner, our Ted Warner, who is a longtime resident of Endicott, whose father was a very important official here. Ted, what do you have to say?
I have a few bullet points to say. If you notice which way the wind is blowing today, right towards the north side. The pollution is going to come out of those stacks, and this is the normal wind direction. Secondly, this is not a political issue. We have a Democrat and a mayor, a Democrat and a Republican mayor here today. This is nonpartisan, bipartisan. What's been put out to the public so far is that this company can move in any time, and that's not true. This company needs 2 permits to move here. They need the DEC permit, which they already got for the air quality, and they need to have that property zoned properly. If that property is not zoned properly, they can't move in. Right now they can't move in. That's why we're voting Monday night to change the zoning for them.
Not to change the zoning.
No, they're going to change, not the zoning on the property. They're going to change the zoning law. The DEC permit, when they gave the DEC permit, they only used the numbers that came from the company, Sun Geo. There's nowhere else in the country they can get data or numbers. They had to use the company's own numbers. So I propose that the village get a disinterested third-party engineering company to look at to give us some opinions. A week later, I realized the independent engineering company is going to look at the same numbers that DEC used, which is the same numbers they got from Sun Geo. So we really don't have an independent study of this thing yet. What benefit is it to the village? They're going to rent the building, so they pay no property tax. They're bringing 20 jobs. You can open a fish store and bring 20 jobs. The zoning change is being ramrodded through, granted, partly because of a virus. The public has not been educated on this issue. The village board has not been educated. The village board has not had a discussion in a village meeting on this issue. And the planning board was told to meet 10 days ago to give their opinions on this to the village board. The planning board was given zero information to go on. They walked into the meeting cold and didn't know anything about the issue. So this thing really, like John said, this really needs an education process for all involved. The village wants to change the zoning, which allows battery recycler recycling facility in industrial zoning. If our board votes Monday night and approves this, the company is in scot-free with a blank check. The village has done no safety standards, no guidelines, no restrictions. We don't even know what roads the trucks are going to drive on when they bring these batteries here. Just a minute. So the thing that the people are interested in Endicott, their health, their children, and their property values. This factory will damage all three of those. So there was a question.
Yeah. Could you just clarify? A lot of people that I've spoke to, I totally
You gotta talk louder.
A lot of people that I've spoke to and bring this subject up, they think it's the battery manufacturing company that is trying to come.
That's an important.
So please, to clarify,
it's a great
because
question.
the citizens
There's
don't
two
know.
battery companies. Everybody needs to know there's two battery companies. One battery company is fantastic. They're going to move here. They're already in the process. They're going to make batteries. They're going to make a new battery. The owner of this company, the mentor, his mentor, won the Nobel Prize at BU for chemistry. The second battery company is a battery company that we're talking about that's going to shred the batteries, put them in a rotary kiln, and bake them at 1700 degrees, and then use an afterburner on what's left. So there's the definition there of incinerator.
You know, even though we've only had a few days to organize, we've collected now 1,000 names on a petition opposed to this. 1,000 petition names in 2.5 days. That gives you some idea of the response of a population, just 11,000, 1,000 in 2.5 days. If you go to our webpage, noburnbroome.com, noburnbroome.com, you will see that petition, and some of you might want to sign it. You can also see our position paper. The paper this morning gave the impression that we're an emotional bunch. We're acting emotionally. No, we're acting on factual and scientific information. And I urge you to read our position paper on our homepage, noburnbroome.com, and I urge the mayor, even at this late moment, to produce a scientific response to our largely scientific concerns. And I think the other thing which everybody surely should agree, that we need to postpone this decision until the lockdown is over, so we can have a proper public hearing where we can hear experts from both sides talking about the problems and talking about the alternatives. That's the least we deserve as citizens, especially the people who've already been poisoned. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
My grandchildren live right here on North Adams Ave, one of our daughters. Should we be looking into getting an attorney that's an environmental specialist at this point, related to, or somehow related to postponing this whole fiasco? It needs to be postponed if we can't turn a vote by Monday.
That question.
There are some people looking into that thing to see what can be done legally. If they can find something, that will come out later this week.
My other question is, should we organize and start petitioning in front of the homes of the two trustees that I last knew were for the project? Put some heat on them.
I would say no. That's a kind of a negative way to do it. But
I just throw that out as a question.
the meeting Monday night is critical. You can go on there from home and watch it on TV, on Zoom, or you can call in on your phone and listen to it. The village just yesterday upped the capacity, so it will now hold 300 people. So they expect that.
Thank you.
Everyone can talk 3 minutes.
You don't think for one moment that you have to be a scientist or technical to make a 3-minute statement. The most powerful statements are the ones that go something like this. I've lived here for 20 years. My whole life has been put into this. My property, my children, and so on. That's the kind of message that might persuade maybe one trustee to come over on our side, and we only need one. Right now it's 2 against 2 and 1 in the middle.
Yeah, well, there's Mayor.
Either one. You know, I've played here my whole life. People have come, you know, hundreds of families. Do you fear that there's a chance that parents might say, I don't want my kids playing for Endicott Little League anymore. I don't want them in the outfield when potentially dangerous chemicals are blowing through, and just talk to your fear of
We
that.
want our children to play in these fields with a factory spewing forth nanoparticles, dioxins, hydrogen fluorides. Do we want our children playing here? I think it'll have effect on these parks. I think the parents are going to say, don't go down there. And then I'm not even sure if it's going to be safe to go to Endwell, because when the wind blows, this is going to blow for miles. And the study in Italy shows that coronavirus can catch on to these nanoparticles and go along with the particle. And they can go anywhere the wind blows. We are in a valley. Where's the wind coming? It's not going to go up over the hills. It's going to go that way. Endwell, Johnson City, Binghamton, that's if the wind blows from the west. From the east, we got the golf course, we got these houses. This is a very, very serious matter.
The nanoparticles are so tiny, they can squeeze between the lipids and proteins that make up the membrane. They can go straight through the long membrane. There is no defense. And once they've gone through the membrane, they're in the bloodstream and can go to every tissue in the body. A study published last November showed that if you had 10,000 nanoparticles per cubic meter, and that's a very tiny amount of mass, 10,000 nanoparticles in a cubic meter of air could increase the brain cancer rate by 10%. So we've only just started studying the effect of nanoparticles. This is serious. And you're playing Russian roulette if your kids play here, because you don't know if it's just one hot particle that's going to trigger the cancer process. As far as the EPA is concerned, there is no safe level for a carcinogen, a human cancer-causing chemical. And there's at least 4 categories of human carcinogens that will come out of this stack.
There's a question here.
300 access on the Zoom for Monday. Is there a new ID number to get that access?
It's on our homepage.
The new number will be on the homepage.
May 4th.
It will also be on the village website.
May 4th.
Is there a fear, though, that, you know, there are a lot of tech-savvy people around here, but there are a number of people that don't have a computer, don't know how to get on. Is there a fear that by doing it this way, you're kind of limiting the amount of people who can express that concern?
Well, we hope that these gentlemen here will expose to the TV audiences the most important part of our talks. That's why we invited the press, the TV. And I'm not sure if the Binghamton Press is here, but I hope they are.
Yeah,
You can dial in as well.
There's so many anti-democratic aspects to this. The way that most people haven't heard about it, the way it's being rushed through during a pandemic, the fact that many people don't have computers and they can't call in and Zoom in, and if they do it by phone, really, what is the argument against putting this off for a few weeks? So when the lockdown is over and we can have a genuine public meeting, not meetings with the company. Of course the company are going to sell a rosy picture to the mayor. Of course they are. That's their job. But we need this issue discussed by experts on both sides so that people can understand what's at stake.
Any other questions from the audience? Now remember, this meeting is going to decide whether we have an incinerator here or not. Monday night, May 4th at 7 o'clock. They're going to decide whether we've just wasted our time. Thank you for coming.
A toxic incinerator for Endicott? No way. But what can I do? Number 1, visit noburnbroome.com and sign the petition. Number 2, contact the 3 ladies on the village board and urge them do not approve any zoning change to permit the toxic incinerator. Call WMBF Bob Joseph between 9:10 and 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday at 772-1290. Get on the radio or write a letter to the editor. 4. You can follow or join these pages or groups on social media. No Burn Broome, Concerned Citizens of Endicott, and Say No to Lithium-Ion Battery Incineration in Endicott. 5. And this is very important, please attend the Zoom virtual public hearing on May 4th at 7 p.m. and let the village board know what you think about them changing the zoning to permit a hazardous waste incinerator in downtown Endicott. Thank you for watching and for caring about clean air.